welcome to the Dits on Wrestling podcast with me, your host, Captain Dits, here on the Royal Navy's only pro wrestling pod. Probably. Still not proven. I don't know if that's the case. Last week we had a super show. Emphasis on the super. It was ridiculously long. It was the Irishman of Wrestling podcast. It went over 2 hours long. Good God, if any of you guys listening to this show right now sat through the entirety of that show, well done. Hats off to you. Hats off to you. It was a given. It was always going to happen. It was the return episode of the DOWPOD after a month off. I had a lot to say, and as you know, I go off on tangents. You might as well call this tangents on wrestling. I will go off and speak about loads of other stuff, and then actually forget about the original point. And this is where a co-host would come in handy, because I can be steered back on track. But tangents are a problem on the show, and they ain't going away. It's just what I do. Now, today will not exceed that 2-hour barrier. It might not even exceed the 1-hour barrier. We will see. But today we're going to be talking all about NXT. I mean, arguably the best wrestling in the world right now. A lot of people, I mean, wrestling is of course subjective, but I think a lot of people will agree that NXT is bloody fantastic. So we're going to be talking about that today, talking about some of my favorite moments, some of your favorite moments, and I'm joined today by Justin from the Worst Wrestling Podcast. That name gets me every single time. He's going to be breaking down his favorite NXT moments as well. So we've got a pretty good show lined up for you today. This is the first real opportunity for me to change things up on the show. As you know, as I said last week, the highlights are gone, segments are mostly gone. Walk the Plank will be back at some point, but for the most part, it's just going to focus on a single topic, and that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to enjoy it a lot more. I think it's a lot less pressure. I haven't watched that much wrestling this week, but I'll tell you what I did watch. NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool numero 2. What a show that was. I honestly thought that Cardiff would take some beating. I was there live. I've, covered it on the show a number of times, brought it up a number of times. I loved Blackpool. What an incredible show. Some great matches. The women's match was great. Devlin Bate was match of the year contender. So good. The ladder match was so entertaining. Even Seven versus Eddie Dennis was hard hitting, and it wasn't a dud. And I actually quite enjoyed the main event for, what a few people have said about it. They've said it was a bit boring and, not up to scratch. But I enjoyed it. It wasn't the best match of the night, but it was good. Served its purpose. And, of course, the Undisputed Era coming in right at the end was shocking. But it has set up a fantastic match at Worlds Collide between Undisputed Era and Imperium. Give me that right now. What a great show. Raw's still going strong. I've enjoyed Raw the last couple of weeks, but I think if you're listening to this from the UK, you'll obviously understand this a little bit more. We've lost WWE on Sky Sports. That is now gone. So now I have to rely on BT Sport. Now, I've done half of what I need to do. I've cancelled Sky Sports, which means, we couldn't watch wrestling on Sky Sports anyway because it's gone. It is now on BT Sport, but I am not signed up to BT Sport yet. So I am actually just watching Raw and SmackDown through the medium of YouTube. So I'm missing out on like finer details and stuff. I'm getting obviously the broader picture of what is going on in Raw and SmackDown, but I miss it. I'm used to waking up in the morning and seeing Raw or SmackDown taped, ready for me to go, and I don't have that in the moment. I miss it. I need to pull my finger out my arse, stop being lazy, and get in touch with BT and say, give me BT Sport immediately, because I need to get my wrestling fix. And it's a good job highlights are no longer a thing on here because, well, I would struggle to put any of them together. But that is Raw, that is SmackDown, that's BT Sport, that's Sky Sports. None of that is relevant right now because we're going to be talking all about the best NXT moments with Justin from the Worst Wrestling Podcast. And just a caveat, Audio has not been our friend this evening. I've had to record through Skype, which is something I haven't done since like the first couple of episodes of the show. So bear with the audio. Annoyingly, I have a new mic sat right in front of me and I can't take full advantage of it. But there we go. That's where we are. But it's time to get Justin on. I am joined by Justin right now from the Worst Wrestling Podcast, and I pop at that name every time I hear it. It's fantastic. Justin, welcome to the show, buddy. How you doing?
I am doing really good, man. Thank you for having me on your show. I can't wait for what's going to be going on right now. People are going to fucking enjoy this. I believe it. I feel it.
People love NXT, so I'd be very, very surprised if people aren't on board with this.
And if they're not, then they suck and they shouldn't be watching any wrestling at all. Because if you cannot sit and enjoy NXT, then you have an issue.
I echo that sentiment. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of a peek behind the curtain here. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll know that I bought a new mic. I didn't buy a new mic. My wife bought me a new mic this week, and I was excited to use it. It's all looking good. Have it ready for tonight. And another little spoiler, I was going to be appearing on Justin's show this week as well, doing a watch along, and we have attempted to record that. It didn't go our way. And then we've attempted to record this one. And as you can hear, my audio isn't exactly great. Usually my side of the audio is fantastic and the guest goes through Skype. This is both through Skype because the plug-in tool that I use has decided to go completely kaput on me, which is not, it's angered me slightly. So I'm hoping that turns into passion for this episode.
I'm going to do my best to make sure you fall back into love of what's going on, and we'll end the day out right.
I think talking about NXT it'll see me through. It'll see me through. Now, as you are the guest, I'll allow you to kick us off with a fantastic NXT moment because I'm sure you've got a few up your sleeve.
I actually do. So the most recent one would be I was at the War Games in Chicago because I'm here in the Chicagoland area. So I was at War Games, and obviously the biggest question was who was going to be the surprise entrant for Team Ciampa. And when Kevin Owens' song hit, the roof blew off. Like it was like the best reaction. He just came out here in his old school KO shirt with his old school KO shorts, and he delivered so many ways. That's like it was so good just being there with the audience and the vibes. It was great. Like hands down, awesome.
I mean, on TV, like I could hear the pop. Like I mean, it was there for everybody to hear, but I can imagine being like in the middle of that. It would have been insane.
It was, and there was a lot of people that were around because it went off to zero the time, and there was a very long gap between the end of the time and KO's entrance, and people were like, "Is nobody ever gonna come out? Like, is this just a rib?" Like people were getting pissed out because nobody was coming out because it took so long to bring them out, but it was worth it, definitely.
Oh, that is such a good moment. Like I live for pops like that because I did say on Twitter this week that I probably get about 3 or 4 pops a year, and that was one of them last year. Like such a great little moment, and to see him in his old NXT gear as well, it was just the exclamation mark on the end of it. It was amazing callback. He was great in that match as well. That match as well was fantastic, and of course the finish was amazing.
Yeah, that finish. Everybody, we were just like there was so much going on, but you could just see those two in a corner, and you're just watching them, and then you see them stand up, and then just everybody in the crowd just stood up because you knew something was going to happen. And I looked at a friend that we went together, and I looked at him like, dude, I'm like, someone's not gonna walk out of this match alive. And eventually, obviously they both did, but it was that going through the table, we're blown away, like scary as all hell, but blown away.
And to be fair, like when we're talking about best moments in NXT, you could actually throw out the fact that War Games came to NXT in the first place. Because we've had like what, 3 War Games now?
Yeah, the
Like,
third one.
I mean, I never watched any WCW War Games, so I can't really compare the two. But I know of them, and I know how it all works. But like having this introduced into NXT was like a money idea, like such a cool thing to bring in because I don't think it would work on the main roster because I don't feel like it's in the right hands. But NXT has always had like that raw feel to it that just kind of just a different vibe, and War Games just completely fits into it. It's always been that edgy little brand, and War Games is edgy as hell. Like it was such an amazing gimmick match. Like I love it. Like every time War Games comes around, or at least I hope War Games is coming around, and then they announce it, and I'm just like, here we go.
Oh yeah, it's money, and we purchased the tickets, and we're like hopefully it is like War Games, and hopefully like we're gonna get a good one because you don't know what you're gonna get when you purchase tickets 6 months in advance. So like for us to get like War Games, and then plus we got the female War Games, like it
Oh
was
yes.
just it was a phenomenal night. Like just experiencing NXT live, it was the best, one of the best experiences I've had.
And Chicago has been really lucky when it comes to takeovers. How many have you guys had now?
Oh my God, we've had quite a bit. I don't even know off the top of my head how many we've had. But we've had enough where we definitely I feel like we get a lot in a sense of we get like the best matches, the best outcomes. We get a good card. WWE does not hold back when it comes to Chicago. So I'm very grateful for being in the area for sure.
And I'm positive it's not going to be the last time we hear from something coming out of NXT Takeover Chicago.
No,
Now
yeah.
I'm going to jump on as I did earlier in the week. I put out a tweet saying to the wrestling Twitter, "What are your favorite NXT moments? What are your best NXT moments?" And I'm going to jump straight into my first mate, Anthony from Anthony Talk Stuff, because we share this opinion. Because I would say this is in my top 3 NXT moments, matches, promos, or however you want to play it. And he's gone for Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. So Nakamura's debut. He said the crowd was great, the match was great, and my hopes were still high that WWE wouldn't ruin Nakamura. It,
The
but what an introduction to Nakamura for anybody who wasn't aware of him, because I'll put my hands up. I knew of him, but I wasn't familiar with his stuff, and I saw him in this match, and it was just like, holy shit! Like this guy is something else, and like it seemed like Sami Zayn was like the perfect foil for him on his way out. So he had Nakamura coming in with all that fire that you would expect from a debut, and you had Sami Zayn looking to prove something on his way out of NXT, and it just led to such an incredible. It was amazing. What an amazing match it was. I think this was probably one of the first times we've heard "Fight Forever" within the WWE bubble, and like if I'm in a situation where I'm with people that don't watch wrestling and I had to pick a match to bring them in, this would be one of the ones I went for. Like, it's so good. Like, were you a fan of the match?
Yeah, no, so when NXT was going on that time, I wasn't that familiar with like the product. I would just kind of like watch their takeovers, and then just that would be it. So when I was watching it, I really honestly I had no idea who Shinsuke was at all. I didn't know he came from New Japan. Like I had no idea who he was. So the minute that his like intro hit, his music, I was like, "Oh, this is great. Like this is just awesome." And then you see his performances, Michael Jackson type of movement, and then he gets in the ring, and him and Sami Zayn just like they tore the house down. Um, I was taken back by how awesome Shinsuke is, and I know right now the main roster it's not what we're used to, but hands down, he's probably one of the best like pro wrestlers I've ever seen.
And like, I think he could still go as well. If you just book him right, then you just strap a rocket to him and he will go. Like, I think at the moment, like obviously he's Intercontinental Champion. That's nothing to be sniffed at, but I just don't think they're doing enough for him. Like in NXT, like he flourished. Of course, he was NXT champion. Like, everyone got behind him. He was huge, absolutely huge with the NXT audience. But then, I don't know, something just hasn't translated over to the main roster. I mean, he got his chance. Obviously, a former Rumble winner, went to WrestleMania, but I don't know. There's just something lacking main roster wise. But you can never ever argue with the debut. Like such a great match. Such a great match.
It was good. It was like you said, it was awesome. Like you said, booking, there's so many wrestlers on the roster. You can only do so much with 2 hours of SmackDown, but I think we still have a good future with him for sure.
He's got a few years left.
Yeah. So I think we'll be okay. Maybe he'll go back to NXT.
Oh, I think I did read that more people are going to be heading back down that way. Guys that have already been in NXT. So we have Balor so far. Breeze went back. I'm trying to think who else. There was 2 names that I saw, and I was like, "Oh my god, if they go back!"
Oh yeah.
Oh, I just can't remember. I can't remember who they are. But
was it Samoa Joe?
Yes, Samoa Joe was one of them, and I think Sami Zayn actually was the other one.
Yeah, I saw that too. I was like, "Oh, that would be great to see."
Oh, so eyes down on that one and see what happens in the future. But speaking of Sami Zayn, I cannot talk about NXT best bits without coming out with this, because this is my favorite NXT moment of all time. Like in the short history that it's had, this is definitely at the top of the pile, and it kind of encompasses a lot of stuff. It's like so many little moments combining to create this just epic moment. And I forget the takeover. So I'm going to throw this question out to you, because you may know Sami Zayn finally defeating Neville and becoming NXT champion. Name that takeover.
Oh my gosh.
On the spot.
It wasn't it like Revolution?
Ooh, could be. Actually, yeah, that does sound right.
I don't know. It's like one of those early ones. Those that are like Arrival.
I'm not sure, but people know what we're talking about. They know exactly what takeover I'm talking about. I was saying that it wasn't even called takeover back then. They know exactly what NXT special it was. Of course, Sami Zayn picked up the win, finally won the NXT championship, the ultimate babyface moment. That moment alone was amazing. You look back earlier on in the night, Kevin Owens debuted. That also was a great little moment, a great introduction to Kevin Owens. I remember seeing the vignettes hyping up his impending arrival to NXT, and I was like, this guy, like I like the look of him, like I like the black and white, edgy stuff, the anger side of it. And then he came out and he was a babyface, and I was like, that's surprising. I was expecting him to be a heel, but I can roll with this. He was doing flips, and I was just like, I know of Kevin Steen, but again, yes. same situation as Nakamura. I wasn't familiar with his stuff, so I'm seeing this guy doing moonsaults and like flips to the outside, and it's just like, whoa, like this is a big dude, but he's athletic. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then fast forward to that victory for Sami Zayn, and everybody comes down. The locker room empties. Everyone comes behind Owens. Owens is the first one out there. He's out there congratulating Sami Zayn. Everyone's all about it. And then everyone else goes. And it's just Sami Zayn and it's Kevin Owens. They're hugging. And in my head, I'm just thinking, oh, this is nice. Of course, they were friends on the Independents. They're essentially best friends. I think this is a nice little moment. And you just didn't expect, if something happens, you always expect it that it's going to happen in the ring. And nothing did. They left the ring. They were starting to climb up that ramp. And then, bang, Owens slams Sami Zayn down. And then, of course, we know exactly what happened then. Powerbomb onto the apron.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens, hello, welcome to NXT and welcome to my fandom. Like, unbelievable moment. Like, I don't think anybody expected it.
No, I don't think anybody did. And then it was Revolution. I was looking up while we were discussing, but yeah, it was Revolution that happened on. But you, unless you didn't know like Kevin Steen and El Generico, their background like in independence, like for me, really didn't know them. So when I saw it, and then you hear like the backstory of them as the years gone on, and you go back to that moment, you're like, that moment is probably the one of the best moments, probably top. Like I'm on all aboard with you. Like probably the top moment of all NXT, where he just you just you there's like there's so much drama in those two, and you saw it on screen, and it just brought it to life, and it was great. It was phenomenal.
And their storyline as a whole, as well, down in NXT, leading to Owens winning the title. Yeah, I think it was like, was he there for like a month and then he won the title? Something's like crazy. And it wasn't even just like he hits a move, gets the pin. Like, he decimated Zayn and made him even more, like, it made us more sympathize with him as a babyface. I mean, it's perfect storytelling, and it just made Kevin Owens look like an absolute badass. But the thing that I liked, that was a nice little twist on just general storylines within the WWE bubble, was the fact that Owens, like, the reasons why he was doing stuff, okay, maybe he was a bit extreme with what he was doing, but he had a good reason for it. He wanted to provide for his family, so the best way to do that is to be the top guy, get the biggest money you can out of everybody on that roster. And you were kind of like, you know what? I don't blame him. I don't blame him for wanting to, obviously, like I said, it was a bit extreme, but you don't blame him for wanting to be the top guy. And if you have to take out your best friend, then so be it. And it was a refreshing take.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. If you want to get to the top, you might have to step on some people, and it might be your best friend. But hey, you gotta look out for yourself in that business.
But oh god, like it has me like wanting to go back and just watch that like 5-6 week period between like Owens debuting, and then Sammy winning, and then the turn, and then just Owens ultimately taking the belt. Because I think did they have a rematch, I think, as well, and then obviously Owens came out on top of that, and I think he went to beat him up, and then another good NXT moment, Samoa Joe debuts in NXT to the worst entrance music of all time. You had the typical stuff that you remember now, so like the ooh, ooh, and then it just goes dun, dun, dun. It's like, huh? This is Samoa Joe.
Literally, I remember watching Samoa Joe like in Ring of Honor. I saw him in Impact TNA, and then I saw his intro to NXT, and I was like, this is what they give him? He's a Samoan badass, and this is what you give him? The music kind of like, it set me off. Like, I was like, God, this is crap. But he's come a long way, that's for sure, when it comes to the music.
Yeah, I do like his. I think he went to Triple H and was just like, yeah, that didn't click. Let's change it up, and they changed it up for the better. Like, I like his current track. It fits him a lot more than the debut did. But it was amazing to see Samoa Joe in NXT for me. Now, going to some tweets here. Now, this could be anything, really. I don't know what he's referring to here. But Aussie Lucian, BJ, from the Mining for Mayhem podcast, he said, this is one of the most iconic NXT moments ever. And the picture he's put up, because the picture says 1,000 words, it's the very first episode of the NXT competition, I believe. So we've got The Miz, we've got Daniel Bryan, we've got Skip Sheffield, and let me see if I can recognize anybody else in the back here. That could be Byron Saxton.
Oh God!
Definitely David Otunga is in the back, but it was when The Miz was pretty much belittling Daniel Bryan. I think that could be the moment he's referring to, or he could just be on about the entire NXT competition as a whole, because it was a fun train wreck.
Oh, train wreck. That's an understatement. It was complete. Is that Skip Bayfield? Is that that was Ryback, right?
Yeah, it's like a porn star cowboy.
I remember that. I remember that. Oh my God. And it's, you know what really sucks is you have like the Miz as the coach of Daniel Bryan, who like is the hands down most like technical like pro wrestler of all time. And the Miz is the coach of Daniel Bryan. And it made no sense at all.
So I don't know if they did that on purpose. I'd like to think that it was all thought out and it would lead to something huge. You know, of course they've been feuding on and off for years now, but I hope that was the case and it just wasn't a troll job. They go, oh, here comes this American Dragon coming in. Who's the fuck does he think he is? Let's put the Miz with him. Let's give him the Miz as his mentor. Like, unbelievable.
Yeah. It's insane. And you know what? And to think about like all these years, they still have a storyline that's going on present right now. It's insane. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think they'll always be paired together in some way, shape, or form. Like, because they have a chemistry. They definitely have a chemistry, and like the Miz is a promo genius, and Daniel Bryan, like initially, you know, he obviously wasn't that great, but I think Daniel Bryan's a pretty good promo now as well. And you have them two in the ring with mics in their hands, great. Put them in the ring together, great. And the fact that it's all stemmed from this absolute car crash of television is insane. It's come a long way.
It's come a long way, and thank God they don't do that no more. Because it would be the laughing stock. Could you imagine that going up against AEW on Wednesday nights?
Oh God,
it would be terrible. USA would cancel it.
You'd be getting like WWE backstage ratings because that's bad.
Oh, yeah, that is pretty bad. That's rough.
Yeah, I don't watch that show. I don't know. I don't have access to it, to be fair. That's why I don't watch it. But I don't know. It's not my cup of tea. Even though I like Christian, I'm a big fan of Christian and Renee, so I can tolerate Booker, Paige. I don't know. It's just not for me. Not for me. Now going back onto no. We've had Twitters go right. It's your turn, Justin. Fire out another great moment.
All right, this one is my top one. It's because I'm just a fan of him. But this is the debut of Adam Cole, Bebe.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. That would have been like I was going to bring that up at some point. So like, oh, was that in Chicago by any chance?
No, it was not. No, it wasn't. That would have been great if it was.
Probably Brooklyn 7.
It probably was. I think it was actually. But his debut coming, you know, you had Drew McIntyre coming back to NXT or to WWE, winning the NXT championship. Then you have Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish come out. They're on the apron, and then all you see is just like everybody's eyes in the crowd just like go to one corner, and it's Adam Cole. He comes in, gives him a good old super kick. It was just great. It was the best because Adam Cole is the shit. He is the best. I mean, he's the best thing going on right now, and he's in NXT. But you put him on the main roster, and he's still the best thing.
And well, you look at like how that was a hot debut. That was a great way to bring him in. I wasn't expecting it. It was the first time the WWE audience got to experience the Adam Cole Bebe up on the ramp, and you see him from there to where he is now. Like when he joined, arguably one of the best in the world, and now he's NXT champion. He's pretty much carrying that brand, and unbelievable. Like he's so good, and he was main roster ready when he first came in.
Exactly. I remember I was watching this one thing, and he was saying that the biggest concern that he had of his debut that night was if the fans were going to know who he was, and when he did the Adam Cole, if they were going to actually know the Bebe. And sure as shit, like you watch it, they know who he was, and they definitely said Bebe.
That's the thing with NXT. You know you're gonna like touch with people who know exactly who you are because they're not the casual fans. At least they weren't back then, before obviously, network TV started to come in. This was just purely a network thing within the WWE bubble. Nobody else touched it. So you were going to have people in that crowd who knew exactly who it was. And obviously it turned out that everybody pretty much knew who he was. Like, that was goosebumps, that moment. It was incredible. So good. And it was a great way to debut. Like, I didn't expect it, especially considering Drew had just won the title. I thought, it was just going to be, a celebratory end and away Drew goes. But no, that's not how NXT operates.
Nope. And it's so strange because you would think, because for the longest time, they always have, like, if they sign someone off the independents, they would have him in the crowd, and they would just, like, pan down the camera to him, and they would just, the crowd would erupt, and that would be it. Not for Adam Cole. He made his own special entrance.
Oh, it was so good. I'm glad you said that. I'm really glad you said that. Back to Twitter, and Josh Robinson, friend of the show, he's actually thrown a few into the mix, and one of which you were there for.
Oh.
So Dakota turning on Tegan and essentially the whole Team Ripley.
Oh my God. Yeah, that one real quick. When that went on, I was so blown away by what was going on. She went ham, hard as a motherfucker on Tegan Knox. I was like, oh my God, she's really putting them in. Those shots were really rough. The door to the cage slamming on her leg and everything. It was good. If there was any way to turn your face to a heel and get that crowd reaction, that's how you do it, and that's how they did it, and it was perfection. It was great. It was good.
I mean, I echo your sentiments there, and I'm jealous that you were there to see that, because again, like, I mean, with Mia Yim being attacked backstage, I think a lot of people went, it's going to be Dakota. That's the way this thing is going. Maybe there'll be a little bit of long term, and she'll turn heel down the line, or maybe she'll turn heel in the match, not 4 seconds after she's left the fucking cage. Who expected that? Like, unreal. And, yeah, and like you said, she went ham. She went loco on Tegan.
Oh, yeah.
Like, such a good moment. I'm with Josh there, and I'm with you. He's also thrown out Bayley finally becoming NXT Women's Champion. Sammy winning, of course, we've talked about that, and Owens debuting, we've talked about that. But he's also he's got very excitable about this because it's all in caps. The Emma versus Summer Rae dance-off in NXT was absolutely fantastic. Emma did the shopping trolley.
Oh my God.
Enough said, really.
It literally is. I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say. There's nothing to say after that one. Wow, who would remember that?
Josh is he's an advocate for the older NXT. He really is. Bless him.
Awesome.
So what else do we have on the old Twitter machine? Oh no, I'm going to save that one till last because I don't know. Now that I actually think about this, no, it's definitely not. My top is always going to be Owens, but this will be a close second, unless of course you bring it up beforehand. So Undisputed Waiter has said he's got a few as well. In fact, he has a lot. He might as well be the third host of this episode. He has a lot. Shinsuke Nakamura's debut entrance, of course, we talked about that. Very, very good. Tyler Breeze almost winning the title at NXT TakeOver Fatal 4-Way. The crowd reaction, he's emphasized on that one. Yeah. Bo Dallas losing the title in a ladder match to Neville, or Adrian Neville, as he was known back then. Zayn finally overcoming Neville, because we talked about that. And as just a standalone moment on its own, Keith Lee launching Adam Cole into outer space.
It was almost like something that you'd see like in a comedy movie. Literally,
he got air.
Oh my God, did he get air? I was like, wow, that dude's flying right now.
And I think he did it. I haven't watched NXT this week, but I'm pretty sure he did it again this week. It's pretty much his thing now, isn't it? He just barrels into people and they go.
Yeah. Keith Lee, his gimmicks right now is just shooting people up in the air and then like just appearing from your screen, like rising, like he's like in an elevator of some sort, and that's like his gimmicks now, and he's over for it.
I'm happy. I'm happy if that's the way they want to go with him. I am more than happy. That's two pop-worthy moments straight away there, on top of what he can already do in the ring. Like he's Keith Lee is amazing. I love Keith Lee.
Yeah. Yes.
He's actually said, "Can I go again?" as if he's put stuff before. I think I'm confusing this guy with somebody else. Let's see if he's posted something before. No, he hasn't. So he had. Here we go. Yeah, I didn't read his out. That's why. Because he is the one I'll save until last. So I will read his other stuff. So this is Wig. So at Wig_MUFC, he threw in some more today before recording. He kindly asked, "Can I go again?" Of course you can go again. He thinks Gargano versus Almas for the title was right up there with the best matches within NXT. I completely agree with that. Even Meltzer gave that 5 stars, for God's sake. And he doesn't do anything like that, you know?
Oh, my God. Hell no. If it's on the Tokyo Dome, he's not giving it 5 stars.
Gargano has arguably had the best run of back-to-back killer matches NXT has seen so far. I would actually agree with that. I would say Gargano is the... If you look at NXT as a whole, match-wise, Gargano is the MVP.
Oh yeah, he's Mr. NXT for sure.
And I hope it remains that way. I hope he doesn't go anywhere near Raw or SmackDown. Like him and Ciampa, keep them in NXT. Never separate them, ever.
Yeah, well, yeah, I actually heard that they were they wanted them to go to the main roster, and they told Triple H no. They're like, we're NXT all the way. We're staying here for life.
And oh God, please.
Yeah.
Case. I worry for Gargano on the main roster. I really do. I don't think Ciampa will ever go, because I think he's always said NXT is where he'll stay, and if he gets called up to the main roster, then that's it for him. I'm pretty sure I saw him saying that in an interview somewhere. But Gargano, I think if he was made to go, he would go. But how they would treat him up there, I don't know.
It wouldn't be good. No, it wouldn't be good.
I'd worry. They dress him up as that like Austrian folk, like weird dancer type fella that he dated on SmackDown back in like 2005 or something.
They would have a callback to that, that's for sure.
And Wig has also put in a few more. So Nakamura versus Zayn, of course. Yeah, we mentioned that. Great match. Another Gargano match. Aleister Black versus Gargano.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's another great match there. And now I'm going to throw. I'm not actually going to wait until the end, because it's there, it's in my mind, and I can't think of any other NXT moments until I get this one off my chest. And it goes without saying, Ciampa turning on Johnny Gargano, all rights reserved. It was like that flashed up in the bottom right. Everyone kind of thought, is this it? Ciampa's going to turn. All rights reserved came up, and you're like, nah, it's not happening. That's it. End of the show. Great show, but no Ciampa turn. It's disappointing, but I'm happy. DIY stay together, happy. Then out of nowhere, this is my moment. Bang, heel turn.
Oh, it was. You didn't expect it. You didn't expect it at all. And when it happened, I was like, oh my God. And guess where it happened at?
Oh, did it happen in Chicago?
It sure did, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Jealous.
See what I'm saying? It's like they just wait for Chicago and they give us the best. But yeah, no, that turn was great. I mean, you didn't think it. Nobody thought of it. DIY was like, they were the shit. Like that was the NXT's tag team. Like they were the top. And nope. Ciampa decided to go the other way around and give us one of the best moments that happened in NXT.
And I think the best thing about this moment as well is the fact that Ciampa was injured. So we had to wait a long time for like his comeuppance, like the follow-up to this whole thing, because this happened and then he went. That was it. We didn't hear from him for like, I don't know, 10, 11 months, something
it was a long
like
time.
That. It was
a long
crazy. And I think him coming back, you know, the look, Like, he was jacked. He had no theme music. The crowd just booed the shit out of him. Like, that itself is one of the finest like moments, storylines, whatever it is. Like, I would say Gargano Ciampa is my favorite feud within NXT, like, without a doubt. So good. And it's long term, because this thing is still ongoing, because you had DIY, then the turn, then you kind of had Johnny siding with him, but then turning on him again, and then Ciampa then obviously getting injured, and now Ciampa's a face. Now they're back together as DIY. Maybe it's probably a one-off for the Worlds Collide pay-per-view next week, but it's they're always going to be paired together. So it's like just this long-term storyline, and I'm glad we're on about this, because I'm staring at a plaque that I bought from the WWE shop, and it's it's showcasing Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano street fight, which also happened to be in Chicago. I mean, come on.
I know. I feel like I'm getting a lot of hate for being in Chicago and being able to be at these places. But hey, you know what? Chicago, it's a wrestling town. What can I say?
I'm jealous. I will always be jealous. People who get to experience NXT takeovers. I've seen NXT UK takeover Cardiff. That's it. I haven't seen any more. London, I missed that takeover because I went to a live event the week before because it was closer. Stupidly, I didn't go for the takeover London. That is a regret. You guys are just so lucky that you get, like you said, so many great moments, so many great matches in Chicago, and it's never going to end.
No, it's not. Like I mean, people. Chicago is like a mainstay for WWE, so I just feel like whenever they do come to Chicago, when it's a pay-per-view, whether it's a main roster pay-per-view or NXT, they're gonna give you like the best, because they know that us Chicago fans are like, we're rabid when it comes to that kind of stuff. So,
and I love it when WWE go to Chicago, because I know like the crowd are going to be into it, and I think the crowd plays like a huge part in wrestling. Like, as much as a lot of people shit on crowds and, you know, kind of put them down, and sometimes it's rightfully so, because if a crowd like properly takes over, it becomes annoying. But when a crowd's into it, not over the top, they're into it, and I think that's where Chicago falls. Like, they're essentially another person in that match. Like, it just completely adds to the whole occasion.
Oh god, yeah, that is true.
And you get to experience that sat in that crowd.
Yep. Yes.
Motherfucker.
Yes.
So another moment, Justin.
So since we're talking about some wrestlers that are possibly going back to NXT, obviously we have Finn Balor who left and came back to NXT. But what about when he first introduced the Demon to the NXT crowd, the fandom of the Demon? How would you think of that?
Oh, like, I've made it no secret, at least, you know, back then anyway. Like, Finn Balor was my guy. He was my favorite, and a big part of that was the Demon, because I'd never seen anything like this before. Because when Finn Balor came in, obviously, you know, we had the internet and stuff like that, so I was able to see, you know, him, you know, painted up to the nines when he was in Japan, and that one time he dressed up as Joker, I think, when he was wrestling for Progress ICW, I think it was. But then to actually see the entrance, I mean, the entrance alone is amazing, but to see him like all painted up and just, oh my god, like I couldn't process what I was seeing, because in my head, like, nobody could top Undertaker's entrance, because like the Undertaker's entrance, the gong, goosebumps, walk into the ring, goosebumps, and the fact that he takes like 20 minutes to walk to the ring, that's 20 minutes of goosebumps you got going on. And I didn't think anybody could top it. But Finn Balor comes in with this like amazing music, amazing look, like just the character of it, just everything that came with it. It was spectacular. And the fact that he made it fresh every single time he brought out the demon, whether it be a chainsaw or just changing up like the paintwork on him or the gear or the headdress, just little tweaks.
And it's awesome because like when you get Finn Balor, you get a certain style of wrestling from Finn Balor, but then when the demon comes, like his style switches. It's awesome that he can have like I'm not sure if he'll ever bring back the demon, but at the time, like he has two characters where he can wrestle differently, and people love it. It's like that's talent for you to be able to do that,
And I'm curious to see now that he's back in NXT and he's now a heel, how the demon will factor in, if the demon factors in at all, because NXT were never scared to unleash the demon, whereas the main roster, I think we saw it 4 times.
Yeah.
Maybe not even that. No, I think it was about 4 times we saw him, because I think one Mania we expected him to come out as a demon, but instead he did the the positive culture thing, which was great, but I want the demon.
Yeah, we all want the demon, and it's just funny because what is his thing right now? Like he's the prince is dead. Is that what he's going now right now?
Yeah, it's not like that. Yeah, he's the prince. And he's kind of got like a cross thing. Yeah, so it might be the prince is dead. I'm not sure, but I'm digging what he's doing.
Oh yeah, and I was actually when we were at War Games, my friend was telling me that because that was Finn Balor's first match back when he came back to NXT. I guess like this whole Prince thing is what he had called himself in New Japan. So why he's killing the Prince, I have no idea, but it's working for him. Whatever he's doing right now as a heel in NXT is working. I love it.
And I'm glad he turned heel, because I hated to see somebody who's so good at what he does reduced to Apollo Crews level of smiling every single week, and it was just like, no, like don't get me wrong, like Finn Balor is extraordinary, but come on, the extraordinary man who can do extraordinary things, no, fuck off.
Let's just stop with that shit. It is so stupid when they do that. I hate when they do that. Like, I don't want to hear the big dog 10,000 times when I'm watching Roman Reigns. I don't want to hear that. So please stop, Michael Cole.
Yeah, the thing is with the big dog though, that's 2 syllables. I can deal with that. But the Finn Balor one, I'm going to count on my fingers here. Extraordinary. But what do they call it? I can't even remember. Extraordinary man that does extraordinary. That's a lot of fucking syllables. I can't fit on 2 hands.
Yeah,
annoying. And hearing that every single time. No,
I don't want to. I don't want to be the commentator that has to say that. I'm sorry, Vince. I'm not saying it. Have someone else do it.
Yeah, and I actually upset me a little bit. I think it was 2-3 weeks ago. Mauro, a guy who I think is fantastic at what he does. He said it. He said he's the extraordinary man who does extraordinary things. I was like, why have you said that? Not in NXT.
No, don't do that, Mauro. Credibility going down. Don't do that.
I haven't heard it since though. So maybe it was just a slip.
Thank God.
I'm hoping so. Now the last thing that I have here on Twitter, and then we'll just freestyle it from there. Ricochet doing the flip over that top rope, landing perfectly on his feet, and squaring up to Velveteen Dream. Mags from the Badlands podcast, he was the one that pointed that one out. Oh God!
Yeah, how do you not break an ankle?
I know. Like I still watch that. He actually sent the GIF. And I'm watching the GIF just over and over. It's just literally been playing next to me this whole time we've been chatting. And every time I see it, it's just like, it blows my mind. Like to this day, like I just can't understand how a human being can do that.
I don't know. He's definitely amazing when it comes to those like athletic abilities. And he's another one where they're tagging him as your superhero or whatever they call him now, but that's kind of getting old. But for him to do that, kudos to him, because I would probably break a leg, bust my head open. It would be a disaster waiting to happen.
I struggle to walk down the stairs. Never mind leaping over like three
Yeah,
sets, a whole set of ropes, and then landing perfectly, as if I just made a small step.
yeah, exactly. Nothing. I'll take the steps down. Thank you very much.
That's such a cool visual. That's so. I mean, again, much like everybody who comes to NXT, I knew of Ricochet, wasn't familiar, and then I see him do stuff like that, and it's like, oh, like this guy
Yeah.
is something else, and he really is. Like the athleticism that guy has is. I've rarely seen anything like it. Crazy.
No, no, I haven't seen anything like him in probably like forever, because he's that good when it comes to whatever he does. It's amazing.
And speaking of amazing, I think we have. I mean, we haven't actually mentioned, apart from Emma doing the trolley in a dance off, we haven't actually mentioned the ladies of NXT. And I think I'd love to finish talking about the women of NXT. And straight away, I want to come out and just say, as I obviously it's not a moment as such, but the NXT women's division right now, as we speak, is you could argue that it is the best division in all of wrestling right now.
Yeah, it is. We were actually I had Kevin Carroll, who co-hosts with Josh on the Wrestling Reverb. I had him on my podcast, and we were talking about how the NXT women division is hands down like the best division out there right now. It's insane. Like I thought like them losing Asuka was going to be a downfall for them,
Yeah.
but they just losing Asuka had just opened up a whole floodgate of just phenomenal women going out there just kicking ass. They put on better shows than the male do.
They do. I 100% agree. And you just look at the people in that fucking division. Rhea Ripley on top, Shayna Baszler, Tony Storm occasionally, Bianca Belair, Candice LeRae. Jesus Christ. I'm not going to say Aaliyah because she doesn't count. Mia Yim, Dakota Kai, Tegan Knox,
Io Shirai.
Fucking hell. How did I not say Io Shirai first? Io fucking Shirai, one of the best wrestlers on this planet, male or female. Like, what?
Exactly.
An incredible roster of women. And that's not it. They've got so many more coming through as well.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, I mean, they just signed, what was her name? Mercedes Martinez?
Yeah.
They just signed her. I mean, we saw her on the Mae Young tournament that they had. She's good. Now she's going to be on NXT. I mean, you have Chelsea Green, who's on there. I mean, they have so many.
They're just showing off.
They just need their own. They need their own show.
Oh my god, I would love that.
Get
rid of 205 Live.
Yes.
And have just like an evolution kind of our show oh god, yes please. Yes please.
Let's do that.
You would have no complaints from me.
Hell no, me neither. I'll watch that over and over again.
But there are some women who kind of set all of this up for the current crop of women in NXT. And of course, I'm talking about the 4 horsewomen of NXT:
Oh, yeah.
Charlotte, Becky, Sasha, and Bayley. They all had either great matches, all of them in that same match, or variants of, the 4 of them together, whether it be a singles match or a triple threat or whatever it is. But there's only really one match that can be described as the best match featuring the 4 horsewomen. And Josh touched on it earlier. It's Bayley versus Sasha, TakeOver Brooklyn.
Yeah. Yeah, that match to this day, like it's probably one of those matches that we can probably look at like in 20, 25 years and look back and say that match is the match that set it all off, like not just for NXT, but like for the whole women's division. They set the standard and they set it extremely, extremely high. One of the best matches ever.
And it came at a time when it was a big thing. Everyone kind of described any women's matches that happened, on Raw and SmackDown anyway, as the piss break matches, because essentially they were, because you knew you had about 2 or 3 minutes. And that's enough time for a guy to get himself relieved and then get back to his seat and get comfortable again. And that's just the way it was. It's a shame because, you look back then, you had the likes of, AJ Lee, the Bella twins were in their prime, Natalia, countless other women within the main roster side of things, and they were just labeled as piss break. And that's a shame. But then on NXT, you had people like Bayley and Sasha Banks tearing the house down in Brooklyn. But it's in my top 10 matches of all time. Like, I remember sitting watching that, and because of the label of women having, this whole piss break label on them. And I already experienced good matches in NXT between women. Becky, Sasha had a great match together on a takeover special in Full Sail, I think it was. I think they had a great triple threat or a fatal 4-way between all of them at one point, which was amazing as well.
Yeah.
But nothing tops Sasha Bayley for me. Not even the Iron Man match that they followed up with, the Iron Woman match, should I say, that they followed up with. Like, this was the pinnacle. There were so many great spots, such a great story told, like from bell to bell. And obviously the cap was Bayley actually defeating Sasha in the end, and the 4 horsewomen there in the ring, all emotional. Right at the end, that's such an amazing moment. Such an amazing moment.
Oh yeah, that Triple H definitely knows what he's doing. That's for sure.
Yeah, like I mean, to be fair, like obviously I said, it'd be great to finish, talking about the women for a second, but I think Triple H deserves a mention. In fact, he's the guy behind this whole ship. So really, yeah, we'll finish with the Triple H side of things, because what a great job that he has done. Like I'm surprised. I am genuinely surprised that he's managed to pull it off as well as he has. Like, he's got good supporting players around him. He's got Matt Bloom, head coach in the Performance Center. He's got a good wrestling brain, and you can tell by the the caliber of people coming through. He's got Shawn Michaels, he's got Road Dogg, he had Dusty when he was around. Like on I forget the women's coach. For some reason, I think it's Sara Del Rey. I don't know if that's right. Is that right?
I don't believe. No. It's my God. It starts with an S. She was one of the CM Punk's disciples on that Straight Edge Society. I forgot her name though. She was part, but yeah, no, she's one of the coaches there, and like you said, he's got such a great cast around him. For him to have the vision to bringing what like we mentioned before, the car crash disaster of what NXT was to what it is now. Being on USA Network and being on every Wednesday live for 2 hours, he's definitely done so much work to make sure that the NXT is its own brand, and for that, like, I applaud him, because I don't know how he did it or how much work he put into it, but he's definitely doing the right thing for us fans.
And he's still passionate about it to this day. Like when he's stood up there like rallying NXT, or just even talking about it, like he still has that passion for it. He knows that there's still so much potential in that brand that can be mined for our entertainment. Like it's nice to see somebody caring.
Yeah, and not only that though, but like you have NXT UK. And that's doing phenomenal as it is, and I just watched their what was the Blackpool?
Blackpool too,
yeah. So I just watched it a couple days ago. I was like, oh my God, every match was a great match. I mean, sometimes I feel like they put on better matches than NXT in the US. They're just so good. Their hands. I mean, Walter is just phenomenal. But it's, and that Triple H is eventually gonna, get to Japan, and he's gonna get to Australia. I mean, he's gonna have NXT all over the place.
I'd be happy.
Yeah,
Spread
so
the
would I.
love. Spread that love.
Exactly. Spread it. You know what? Maybe we'll just have an NXT in Chicago. We'll just, maybe we'll have that.
You get every fucking great moment in NXT, and literally every single moment we've named tonight is like 80% has been in fucking Chicago. You've had enough.
I'm being gritty over here, all right?
Let's have NXT Takeover Plymouth. Let's have that, please. Don't want that here. It's a terrible arena.
Oh, okay. Then no.
I'll take Cardiff again. Put it back in Cardiff. That was great.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, like NXT, is unbelievable. It's such a good brand, and it's only really just getting started because now it's on TV. The casuals are starting to see it, and it's got a long way to go. And I'm excited for what is to come with NXT. And maybe if I was to do like another best bits next year, like this time next year, I can imagine I could throw another like between 10 and 20 moments at it quite easily. And there are so many moments that have happened in NXT that we haven't said. I'm sure there's people listening to this and going like as if you did not mention that.
Exactly.
Moments like Mickey James coming back, or Liger facing Tyler Breeze, or anything involving American Alpha Revival. Anything. There's so many fantastic moments that haven't even had a shout. But that's the thing. There's so many good moments in NXT that it's easy. Yeah. It's easy to forget them.
There is, yeah. We could probably talk 8 hours about NXT.
and I would love to, but after last week's Super Show, which went over 2 hours, I won't do that to them. I won't do it to them.
I love. Yeah, you were talking about how you had to listen to it in like 4 different parts over 6 months.
So somebody will listen to the rest of that episode in like November. Oh yeah, I never finished it.
There it is. It's still saved.
That's what it's a bookmark episode. You just got to keep bookmarking, and you'll find your way.
Yeah, exactly.
This one, not so much. Like I've hit the hour mark. I'm happy with it.
Good. I'm happy that you're happy. I'm happy that towards the end of this that you're happy because you started off a little heated with the whole mic issue, but now you're on cloud 9.
I mean, we say this, but I've yet to listen back to the audio, which could be just like not good or non-existent.
Oh,
that would be sad. That would be sad.
That'd be actually terrible. Let's not hope for that.
But I mean, I think we need to jump off here before anything like that does happen, because I would cry. I would actually break down and cry.
That'd be a damn good idea.
So before you do go, this is your opportunity to plug the absolute shit out of yourself. And if you don't, I will.
Well, I appreciate that. So basically, you can find me on Twitter at Worst Wrestling. Currently starting to get a little bit more active on there. Starting to post some weird stuff, get more into the fans of wrestling. But you can get my podcast, the Worst Wrestling Podcast, on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, our iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Stitcher, all those fun places you get your podcast apps. I am there, and it's I just got some random stuff going on. That's basically it. It's just a bunch of random shit about wrestling, and it's wrestling. It's I don't know what else to say about it.
That's the best thing. Like, this is what I've discovered, obviously, after taking my break. I going in blind and just talking about random shit with wrestling is like it's made me look forward to doing this all again. Like, I decided to do NXT Best Bits on like Tuesday. I was like, that's what I'm going to do this week. I'm not going to talk about Raw. I've touched on Raw and SmackDown a tiny little bit, and NXT UK Takeover very briefly in my intro. It took me 2 minutes. That's all I need. Everyone else is just random.
Yeah, it's all you need. I mean, there's so much that's going on. Like, I have, I'm gonna have merchandise be coming out soon. I'm going at this as hard as I possibly can. Find the podcast, download it, subscribe, leave a review. I got a lot of things that are coming up that I got plans going. So the hamster wheel is going. So it's 2020 is going to be a good year for sure.
And rest assured that it doesn't live up to its name. As great as it is. It is not the worst wrestling podcast. I've heard some atrocious wrestling podcasts, and yours is not that.
Well, I thoroughly appreciate that, sir.
But before you do go, there is obviously this isn't the end of me and Justin. Coming up soon on the Worst Wrestling Podcast, we have a watch along, don't we, Justin?
Yes, we do. We have a watch along, and that watch along is Shane McMahon versus Kurt Angle in a street fight at King of the Ring 2001. A match that I have never seen before. Never, ever, ever seen at all. Just the minor clips. That is it. So thoroughly excited to watch this with you, which is one of your top matches.
It is. Top 3, easily.
Yeah, so that's going to be coming soon, so you got to watch out for that one. It's going to be a special one for sure.
And I hope it's not the last time that we collab either, because this has been a lot of fun. It's been good reminiscing about NXT with you this week.
Oh yeah, it's we'll definitely have to get back together, and like I said, there's something special that I have planned for the WrestleMania time frame, and that one, if all goes well, I think it's something I've never seen before, so it's just stay tuned, just watch out.
And I know what that is, and I'm excited about it.
Yes, you do. You do know what it is. I'm thoroughly excited as well. I wish it was WrestleMania like in a month. That's how excited I am for this.
It's going to be good, guys. And go right now. And obviously not now because you're listening to me, but as soon as this episode finishes in about a minute or two, go and check out the Worst Wrestling Pod. Go and check out Justin. Go check out his latest episode with Kevin Carroll, as he said earlier on, from Wrestling Reverb. They had a really good chat. Go anywhere you can get podcasts, you can find the Worst Wrestling Pod. Go and check him out. But Justin, thank you very much for coming on. And I'll see you on the watch along.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Thank you very much, Captain Dits. It's been a true honor for sure.
And there we have it, guys. That was the best NXT moments from me, from Justin, and from you guys. A lot of fun this episode, really good reminiscing about NXT. And once again, I am sorry for the audio quality. Very, very frustrating. I had Justin waiting on the line for a good 10 minutes whilst I was trying to sort it out. It was getting to the point where I was ready to start stabbing some people. Where's Brad Shepard? Huh? Where are you, boy? It's not really a real thing. That I had actually backlash last week for the Brad Shepard segment. Just throwing that out there. That was interesting. Getting DMs for killing Brad Shepard via audio. It was bizarre. It was bizarre. But there you go. Guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join me on the second episode back from my break. You know, it's nice to be back amongst the podcasting, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for what's coming to this show, what's coming to Dits on YouTube as well. So, stuff is happening on HMS DOWPOD, and you don't want to miss out. So make sure that you are subscribed to the show via Apple Podcasts, and whilst you're there, leave a little cheeky 5-star review, and maybe write some nice little things in there as well, because it's all nice to hear. And then, of course, across the podcasting spectrum, your Spotifys, your Stitchers, your Google Podcasts, your everything else. If you've got a podcast app, chances are this pod is right on there. Make sure you follow, subscribe, review, whatever those podcasts offer out. Do that because it helps. It puts us out there. More people will know about the DOWPOD with your help. So appreciate anything that you guys can do to boost this baby to the moon. Maybe not that far. Maybe it'll reach a cloud somewhere. I don't know how far clouds are. I'm not going to look that up now. It's a distance. It's a distance. Hope we can reach that. But no, again, thank you very much for listening. And next week, well, I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing next week. Keep an eye out on Twitter, and I'll let you know what's going down. But until then, thank you guys. See you next week.